Have you ever been driving down the road and there's a car up there and it's not moving very fast and you're in traffic? You could be on a small country road. You could be, I grew up in a small town and you see this sometimes. You're driving on that small road and what's going on up there? Why is it so slow? And all of a sudden you move up and about 5 minutes later you look up and it's the driver's ed car where the driver's education teacher and the student driver, and on the back it says, student driver, be slow. That was the Bears offense last night. The coach, Matt Nagy, is the driver's ed teacher, and Mitch Trubisky is the student driver. And that offense, that wasn't a win last night. That was an indictment. The Bears are the L.A. Rams if the Rams had no offense. The Bears have Matt Nagy. Super clever. I mean, you can watch that game and not even know football. And the motions and the traps and the screens and the sets, the Bears look like the Rams. They have a different playbook. You've got tremendous special teams with the Rams and the Bears, way above average. And you got defensive studs with the Rams. And you got defensive studs with the Bears. The difference is one has an offense. I mean, forget ceiling. The Chicago Bears offensive ceiling is a crawl space. That's a college offense. I'm looking at the box score from last night. You would have no idea. If you didn't watch that game and you took the box score, you would think that was an evenly matched game. And it wasn't. Chicago's defensive line mauled the Seahawks offensive line for 3.5 hours. The Bears were at home. They had a 10-minute edge time of possession. They had 6 sacks, and basically a pick six decided it. 24-17. What do you think the Rams would have done with that Seahawks team last night? That game wasn't even competitive, but Russell Wilson kept his team alive, and Mitch Trubisky kept his team in training wheels. I mean, think about this. The first-round quarterbacks picked in 2017 were Trubisky, Mahomes, and Deshaun Watson. Trubisky's got 12 touchdowns in 14 starts. Watson's got 24 and 8. Mahomes has 10 in 3 starts. Now, here's the good news for the Chicago Bears. Is in the NFL, here's the thing you can't be at quarterback. You can't be chaotic. You can't be Buffalo. That's what you can't be. And the Bears in the last 30 years have been chaotic a lot. So the good news for the Chicago Bears, beyond the great special teams, the great defense, and that tremendously clever head coach, they are not chaotic at quarterback. And that's a thing. But the ceiling on that offense, if you put anybody, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, I mean, you could put B guys in this league on that offense. Give Cam Newton those weapons. That clever offensive coordinator, that defense, those special teams, wow. You can't win in January and February with that. By the way, you can win a lot of games with a low-ceiling quarterback. Ryan Tannehill wins 7 a year. Andy Dalton wins in his career 8 a year. But you're looking at the L.A. Rams with no offense. That's what they are. I'm watching the Bears last night. That offensive coach, Matt Nagy, is so clever. Those special teams are so above average, and that defense has playmakers everywhere. The difference is, I don't want to hear anybody out there bang on the Rams and support the Bears, because that's the Rams. But the Rams have a quarterback who also went number one, who has a much higher ceiling. So let me talk about the other team last night, Monday Night Football, the Seahawks. Once again, Russell Wilson's running for his life. Once again, there's no running game. Once again, the offensive line's a mess. Once again, below average at wide receiver and tight end. Yeah. Yep. Pete Carroll, USC, New England, and the Seahawks. Starts hot. Everybody's talking about him. Crazy fun, crazy wild. And then with USC and the Seahawks by year 9, the slogans don't work. There are 5 teams in the NFL 0-2. The coaches are guys like Steve Wilkes, Matt Patricia, Pat Shurmur. In the NFC, the fourth coach with an 0-2 record is Pete Carroll, and he's the only one with a great quarterback. I always felt this. You ever heard of Tony Robbins? I've been watching Tony Robbins. I've known of him for 35 years. Tony Robbins at 29 years old, he's that big, giant motivational speaker. At 29 years old, for $10 million, $15 million, bought a resort in Fiji. And he is not a scam. He is still working, selling out arenas. Tony Robbins, absolutely, that's a real business, and I do think he helps people. I've not seen Tony Robbins. I've watched a couple of documentaries on Tony Robbins. I've met Tony Robbins. He seems like a likable guy. He is flawed like all of us, but that's a real business. But the problem with Tony Robbins is when you're in the arena and a couple of weeks after that stadium and that motivational speech, 3 or 4 weeks later, you're at home, you're preoccupied, you're tired, your dog's next to you, and you just want a big bowl of macaroni and cheese, and you don't feel like you're going to change the world. You fall back into routine and patterns, and once Tony's not there to go raw and sweat and yell and scream, you come back down to earth. Because in real life, nobody's that motivated every day. Pete Carroll's very similar. Pete Carroll has Tell the Truth Monday. That's what he calls Seahawk practices. Tell the Truth Monday. Be honest with yourself. Look at film. There's Competition Wednesday. There's Turnover Thursday when we talk about the importance of ball security. There's No Repeat Friday slogans. Last night was a Mediocre Monday. That Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, the reason this dynasty lasts for 18 years, it's built on academics, and those last. And the reason Nick Saban has a decade-long dynasty that appears to be stronger than ever, because it's built on details, and those last. And Pete Carroll, a lot of it's built on slogans and emotion. Brah, those don't last. Slogans, you've all seen the Hallmark card. It's not the destination. It's the journey. You see that card, that poster, you put it on a wall, it doesn't mean anything. Maybe in the moment at Hallmark, you open the card, it kind of feels special. I mean, Tony Robbins is great, and Pete Carroll's a very good coach. I'm not saying either one of them's a scam. I'm not. Pete won a Super Bowl, was a great college coach. I mean, from the looks of it, he may get that USC job again if he wants it. And by the way, Tony Robbins, that's a real business. I'm old enough to remember Tony Robbins doing infomercials with Fran Tarkenton. I remember him as a kid when we didn't have cable TV. Not much of it. Okay, but in the end, Tony Robbins is a lot richer than all the people going to his auditoriums. Because once you're in the room and rah, and yeah, change your life, go to the moon, this is amazing, we're gonna, sweat, slogans, awesome. 3 weeks later, you get home. You just want a beer and some macaroni and cheese. Your kids are wearing your arse out. You're preoccupied. You really don't want to, you don't even want to go to the refrigerator to get the beer. You're tired. Your boss is driving you crazy. You got stuck in traffic. That's real life. Real life's not slogans. That's why Belichick's dynasty lasts. And that's why Saban's dynasty lasts. Because smarts and details last. You can be smart every day. You can be detailed every day. Slogans don't last. Tell the Truth Monday, Competition Wednesday. That was Mediocre Monday right there last night. 9 years in at USC and 9 years in with the Seahawks. Players have all heard the slogans. Remember Cliff Averill, the former Seahawk, told us before the season? Cliff Averill, before the season, came on the show. Remember what he said about the rah-rah stuff?
Me personally, I'm not going to lie, I never listened to Coach Carroll. I never needed him to kind of motivate me on game day or for practice. I understood it was a job. I understood what I needed to do. So I never really paid attention personally. Now, for other guys, I could see how, the message could get crossed a little bit, especially after like the Super Bowl run when guys started kind of questioning what our foundation was after that play.
By the way, people always say to me, why don't you like Pete Carroll? And I'm like, no, I like Pete Carroll. And I like Tony Robbins. I'm not calling it a scam. I'm not saying what they're doing doesn't work, but there's an end to it. It unravels. You can sell guys in the room, But Pete's not always in the room. And Tony Robbins can sell you on the tape and in the auditorium. But you don't have Tony Robbins' energy. And you don't have Tony Robbins' size, gravitas, history. And in the end, academics and details last. No repeat Friday. The only repetition I'm seeing is, once again, the offensive line's awful, the running game's awful, the receivers are below average, and Russell Wilson's running for his life. I'm seeing repeat Sunday and Monday all the time. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.